So this is lesson 13. We'll look at data tables and also the what if analysis, which is, they are all within what if analysis. There are three elements that are within what if analysis. We have data tables, we have goal seek, and we have scenario manager. So I thought like today we dedicate our time on data tables and goal seek. So that next time, hopefully, obviously tomorrow, when I'm back to Lusaka, we'll look at the scenario manager. We would have covered those components that she sometimes examines. Mm-hmm. When I look at data tables, from my own grading system, I believe that data tables are the most powerful features or tools in Excel. If you just know how to use them. They answer very difficult questions and they're very dynamic. Imagine you're in a meeting, you have presented the budget, and the budget is actually showing that you're going to have a loss or a profit of 50,000. Then one of the board members asks you a very simple question, apparently. That how many units should we produce to have a zero profit? Or how many units should this company manufacture to have a profit that is equal to our target profit margin of 10%? So your data tables would help you to answer those questions. It's a very powerful tool. So first, we're actually going to look at a single data table, not the one that is a two-way data table. That's the first one that we're going to look at. Namjir. Double it out. You got to class, I think 1 hour, 30 minutes, that money. Okay. I can work. Oh. I'm going to hold it. You know, I'm fridge in Strashvika. Madam, when a fridge pan. Oh. Okay, I'm going to link it up during the next 1 hour first each table class session. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh. Bashira kwa na muhimu chi flask church toilet. Or shove it. Okay, maybe not shilete too. Oh, yeah, I shilete. Okay. Hello. Oh, sorry about that. Not sorry. I need 1 or 2 unmuted people that I can talk to. Don't go unmute. Okay. Let me just buy some fish. Sorry, let me just pause. Get mama. Okay, sorry. Distraction. Sorry. Okay, I was saying that data tables are one of the most powerful tools in Excel. They are able to help you to answer certain questions that ordinarily you have to stutter. You have to show some form of ignorance. But data tables will help you to answer what we call what-if questions. Business solutions, they are based on what-if. So here, first we are going to look at one-way data table. Imagine you have, like in this country, obviously, we're actually looking at different types of interest rates, the annual interest rates. The worst case scenario is 30%. The best case, which it is now, is about 28% annual. Thank you, Mr. Chidongo, and please unmute so that at least I'm able to talk to one or two. I can see my Rush has unmuted, so I can talk to one or two. So the worst case scenario, we are actually saying the annual interest, if you get a loan today, would be, say, 30%. The best case, which it is currently, it is at 28% annual interest. That's very, very expensive to getting a loan. Then the best case would say 25%. So here, where I've typed West, let's do a bit of some data validation. We create a list. So what we'll do is we'll go to data. Let's go to data together. On data, guys, let's go to data validation. Under data validation, you know what to do. We go to list. Under source, let's just highlight from D2 to F2. Let's just highlight from D2 to F2. Hello, are we okay? Patricia, is it okay?
Hello, it's okay, Coach.
Okay, thank you. So, okay. We know this is not a new skill. This is what we know. So let's just assume that your organization got a loan of, say, 500,000 kwacha. Just type 500,000 kwacha, a loan. Mr. Chidongo, unmute. I want to be talking to you. So then annual interest. Annual interest, we want to pick from these scenarios, guys. We want it to be a bit dynamic. So on annual interest, we can use, Myra, we can use a function. Myra, unmute as well. I want to be talking to you.
I'm unmuted, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So on the annual interest, we want to pick the annual interest based on the case that we pick here, the scenario that we pick. But we are going to use a function called Hlookup. Hlookup is horizontal lookup. Has 4 syntax arguments. The first one is basically the lookup value. The second one is the table array. An array is a range of cells that you want to pick, which you are going to use as a basis to fish out the information that you want. Thirdly, is the row that we want it to focus, to pick in a specific row. Is it row number 1? Is it row number 2? Is it row number 3, 4, 5? The last argument, which is basically more of a lookup. Do you want an exact match? What you want to look up, what you want to feature? Do you want to pick a tiger fish? Or anything, as long as it's a fish, as long as it's a fish. So that match, it has two options. It has 0 or 1. 0 is false. And once you pick 0, all you are actually saying is that you're picking an exact match. Whereas 1 is true. All you're actually saying is anything closer. If I'm looking for Patricia, if I find the part, it should pick. If I find the tree, it should pick. If I find Sia, it should pick. I'm not saying Sia or no, Patricia, please forgive me. I'm not talking about the Jagabine. So that's what it is. And it also assumes if you don't type anything in the last syntax argument, it assumes that you don't want to pick an exact match. It assumes that you have actually picked a 1 or a true. Because it goes like this. So you can see here is lookup, value, is table array, is the row index number, the row that you want to pick, and the range lookup. Do you want an exact match? You can see it shows you true approximate match or false exact match. So false, I did tell you the time that we are looking at Excel overview that false is 0, whereas true is 1. So if I say, for example, I type true here, and I also type true here. Then I say this times that. It should give me 1 because that is 1. Whereas false is 0. So if here I type false, then it will give me 0 because it will be 0 times 1. So we use true and false when you are creating detailed, we are creating detailed models. We use true or false. That is what we actually use to create those flags. Oh, I'm in my village, eh? Okay. So that is what it does. So now, we now use the Hlookup to fish out this information based on the scenario that we are going to create, guys. So say equals Hlookup. Just type that equals Hloo. Once it comes, you tab. After doing that, you have to hold Control A. So you can see the 4 syntax arguments that I had explained to you. We have the lookup value, which is the thing that we want to pick. So in this case, Myra, in this case, we are actually picking the lookup value will be the worst there. Even if you don't look because you're not making any movement, it's okay. It's like you're living in an island and by yourself. Why should you look? So you can decide whether to look or not. So you pick the lookup value, which is the worst. Then on the table array, always the table that you want to pick, like for example, it should mirror the first row. It should mirror the lookup value that you have. Similarly, if you are looking at VLOOKUP, the table that you are picking, the first column of that table, it should actually mirror the lookup value. That is the trick. That is what you're supposed to do. So under the table array, guys, we are actually going to pick this component like this. You can lock or you decide not to, it's all right. But I think just as part of housekeeping, we normally lock. But it doesn't matter as long as you're not making any movements, you're not dragging this formula down. Ngandwe, is it okay? Myra, is it okay?
Yes, coach, noted.
It's like my thing. Hello, it's okay?
Yes.
It's like my headsets are not working, huh?
Sorry, I was just I was just downloading my this table, so now I'm just trying to catch up. So the lookup value was from where again?
Okay, let me just restart.
Okay.
It's like my headsets are not working. So we are saying, you say equals Hlookup.
Okay.
So the first thing that you do, you pick the lookup value, the one that you want to use as a basis to fish out the information that you want. So in this case, we are picking this scenario or the worst case scenario. You can lock or you decide not to lock. It's all right because you are not going to make any movements on this formula. Then now you go to table array. On the table array, all you do, you actually pick. You see the first row where you have worst, best, and best. It should actually mirror the thing that you have in your lookup value. So you can lock if you want to as a matter of housekeeping, but doesn't really matter because you are not going to make any movements on this. Therefore, you don't expect the formula to move or the table to move. So the row index number, if we were to type 1, it is actually going to give us the first part here because that range you have picked, row number 1, that is where we have the worst, best, and best. But that is not what we want to pick. We want to go into where we have the interest rates. So then it means that we need to go to the row index number, which is in row number 2, because row number 2, that is where we find interest. So type 2. But you see what happens in here. If you can see down there, it gives you a preview. You can see my cursor where it is. It gives you a preview of what you are going to have, the output. Because we did not put an exact match, it has picked 25%. It has looked at the worst in here. It has found an S. This S is matching with best, the S in the best scenario. So it is picking 25% because it's not an exact match. Therefore, if our objective is to have an exact match, then we'll have to type 0. You can see it has changed to 0.3 because we want an exact match. The other one, it only looked at, if you remove like this, it takes you to 25 because it's finding the ST here and the ST on best. From its own intelligence, it assumes that this is what you want to pick. But that is not what we want to pick. We want to pick the exact match, so we type 0. If we leave it like that, it assumes. If we type 1, then we're saying we don't want we want an approximate match, not an exact match, but that is not our objective anyway. So we'll type 0. If you don't want to type 0, you can type false, but I see it to be a bit more.
Sorry, sir, what's the table array again? From where to where?
From D2 to F3.
From D2 to F3. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you so much. So you type 0 there. There's a lecture on my website. I don't know if it's lecture lesson what, where we have done the Hlookups and the VLOOKUP. You can still relook, but there's no harm. This is why I'm bringing these components so that you have an opportunity to learn. So you can press OK, just press OK. Not you can, just press OK. Okay, we are now 7. Unless if there were assignments, you are going to be 11, eh? On.
So let me just.
So now we have to quickly finalize this lecture. So we now go to interest cash. So we know that if you are getting a 50,000, a 500,000 loan, and we assume that it is a fixed interest rate, meaning that it does not fluctuate based on your standing balance. I know those people that work in the bank would understand this. So if it's a fixed interest that you are supposed to pay, so we are actually saying you have the loan times the interest. Okay. Today, the wives to my friends are not there. Yeah, I haven't seen Tamara, I haven't seen Whoop. No? Okay. Let's move on. So we'll have that. Meaning that this is the interest that you have to pay over and above the principal. But this is not the cost, the thing that I want to drive you to. I want to drive you to on how to create data models. Now imagine here someone asks you, what's the best case? You need to come and do a drop down, but you can create a data table down. So let's create a data table. Let's pick, just highlight from D2 to F2, we pick that worst, best, and best. Copy. Copy. Go to C15. Right click here. You see what this means? This one actually means that you are picking values only, but we want to transpose. So we are actually picking this. Transpose. So press OK. Myra, is it okay?
Yes, coach.
Jesse, is it fine? And good to see your name. Lelo vantswani angalero ni Myra chabe mzanga na Patricia now nangandi. Okay. So you have these worst, best, and best. You can do these data tables. You can even do 1,000 trials and whatever. So we have the worst, best. We want to have the solution just there. So what we want to pick, do equals, what we want to pick in this case, we want to have the interest cash. So pick D11 like this. Okay. So in this case now, what we do, you will highlight this whole thing like this. The magic. I'm now showing you the magic of data tables. Maria Kale. Ah, on est breakfast là, je suis pas d'une là comme Okay, you have picked that table. Bana ba mwalimu, amwautwa.
Yes, coach, we have picked the tables.
Okay. So after you have highlighted that, then we go to what if analysis. We go to data table, press on data table. Here you have row and column. This row and column is dependent on what you have in here. Are they in the rows or they're in a column? So what you want to pick these scenarios, they're in a column, then column C. They are not in rows, like going this side. So you ignore row, you go to column. People make mistake on this one. They don't know what row or column is. Is it here, as you look at it, should you count it as rows or should you count it as column or where it is coming from? So they get confused, but you need to know that from your data table that you have selected, the elements, the scenarios that you are looking at, if they are in a one column, then it means that they're in columns. If they're in so many columns, then it means that you're picking rows. So then we go to C7, pick C7. And press OK. Press OK. So let's do this. I show you some form of formatting, just small magic to use. Highlight this part. Let's go to formatting. Home, press on home. Just some small magic, press home. Go to conditional formatting. Go to highlight cells. When the cells are equal to, press on equal to. Pick D11 when they are equal to D11. If you don't like the color, you can change it here under red fill, whatever, you can customize it. Then press OK. So what this data table, guys, does, it shows where we are. It shows that we are under West here. Actually, if you wanted, I could have formatted it starting from there, but I'll show you in the next part, in the next segment. So here, it shows that the West is 150 in terms of the interest. The best is 140, whereas the best is 125,000. So if you change here on the drop down, you go to whichever, whether it's a best or best, you can see how it actually moves. At your place of work, you become a small guru. Hello? Myra, is it okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to be okay.
Did you
Though
get
on my
it?
drop down.
Yeah.
On On my drop-down list, I've got percentages and not best or worst or best.
But why did you pick percentages?
I don't know. Okay, I think I'll need to redo this.
Okay. The video is going to be posted there. It's all right. I'm sure you will see because it's almost similar to example 2 that I'll be giving.
Okay, coach.
Patricia, is it okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that is how, this is a one-way data table. Now, let's look at a two-way data table where you have the scenarios this side, you also have other scenarios the other side. So let's go to data table 2. So Myra, you have an opportunity to correct the errors you had the other side because I'll still redo this.
Okay, coach.
So let's just do the drop down here for the West. You know what to do there. I'm not going to. Oh, I've picked West. Not the passive. I picked the wrong one. Sorry.
So you need to explain the process. I wasn't there when you were doing this one.
The drop down.
I didn't join class.
Okay. So what you do, you go into a cell where you want to have that drop down. Then you go to data validation. You go to data validation. There's a green tick here. I always prefer going for that green tick. Okay, now you go to the green tick. You press there. So you change from you find there's n value here. You change from n value, you go to list. So under source, below under source, you now go to where you want to have this drop down, the elements that you want to have in the drop down. In this case, we want to have the West, best, and best. You pick them. If you wanted, you could have even named that range as scenario 1, then you type equal scenario 1, you choose to pick.
Okay.
And press OK.
All right.
So you'll find now you have that drop down. So in here, we want to find a loan, but also on the loan, we'll need to come up with another drop down. Let me just copy the color here. Yeah, almost here. Okay, so we'll need to have another drop down. I'll pick gray. You can pick any color or you can leave it, it's all right. So I'll go into D11 and go into D11 as well. Go to data. Under data, go to validation. Just follow the same procedures that you did. Go to list. Under source, pick from D6 to F6. So, having picked those, then you can press OK. Let's pick passive for this. Yes. So, here you have the loans. Depending on your risk appetite, There are some people get huge loans. There are some that are a bit passive, others neutral. So you have these loans and you have segmented them based on people's or companies' risk profile. We know in theory that the risk profile of a company is dependent on the collective risk profile of its board of directors. So in here, then we'll say equals, again, we'll use Hlookup. Today is Hlookup day. So we use Hlookup, tab, Control A. So what is the lookup value? The lookup value is this, D11, the passive, because that is the one, that is what we want to use to fish out the information that we want. So we'll go to the table array. In the table array, we'll pick from D6 to F7. Just as a matter of housekeeping, just get used to doing this, but it doesn't matter. You lock it. So you press the F4 key. Then from here, then now you go to row index. Which row do you want to pick? This is row number 1, row number 2. We want to pick data from row number 2, or in row number 2, not from. We want to pick data in row number 2. So type 2. But we don't want an approximate match. We want an exact match. So in here, you can type false if you have so much time, or you can type 0. Press OK. So you will see that passive is 120. If we go to neutral, it's 150. You go to aggressive, it's 195. So I'll keep it on passive mode for now. Then we go to annual interest. We already have this part here on these drop downs. So on the annual interest, Mama, eating breakfast one. Akuna. Matata. Okay, it's fine to catch up. Kwa higher. So we go now to annual interest. Under annual interest, you know what we did? We said Hlookup. Lookup value, we are picking the waste because this is the scenario that we have. Table array, we are picking from D2 to F3. We can lock. Row index number, we are picking 2. This is what we did in the first example. And range lookup, we are picking 0. So we can press OK. So you can see the match, the waste is 30%, and we have 30% there. If we go to base, it's going to give us 28%, and this is what we have. Okay, then we go to interest cash. So we know that interest cash would be the loan that we have times the annual interest rate. Trust me, when you have an assignment, a component where you're actually going to have, either data tables or GOSIC, I'm not going to be there to help. Because this attitude where if there are assignments, that's when we see people. If there are no assignments, they sit because they drag us. Myra, you help them at your own time. Ongando is there. Yeah, just tell them that it's not good for learners. Okay. So after you're done with this, obviously we'll need to have this waist, base, and best copy. Let's take it in 19, but we are going to transpose it. If you want to transpose, if you want, you can say Control Alt V, then you go to transpose, or you can right click and go to this thing which shows that you are transposing. Whichever way is okay. Yeah. Ah, yeah. So we do that. Let's just quickly, so they'll be knocking off, so I have to also go to the village. So you pick that, then here, this is where we're going to have the passive up to neutral. Copy, up to there, Control V. Now, once you have these, say equals, pick the interest cash, which is in D14. You are trying to create scenarios. So this is a two-way data table that you want to create.
Coming.
So having done that, please, yes, we are remaining with about 9 minutes. Just highlight.
Fuel.
So once you highlight this data table, go to what if, go to data table, press data table. So here, this is where the trick is. You have seen where you have passive, neutral, and aggressive. They are in row number 18. So row, it means that here now, we go directly and pick passive here in D11. In column input, where we have the waist, base, and base, they are in column C, and this is how you should process this concept to understand what should be in row and what should be in column. So under column, we are saying we are going to pick C10. So it's a two-way data system, or data table, sorry. Having done that, we can move on now and press OK. So you see in here where you have your waist and passive, it gives you 36,000, which is the waist and passive. It gives you 36,000. But if I change from waist, from passive, I go to aggressive. If I change, I go to aggressive. You can see aggressive is 58,000. Here on waist, 58,000. You can still do that what we did on formatting the data and what under the formatting table. Jess, you want to ask a question, or you're following closely? Okay, so this is how it works. So if we change from waist, we go to best. You see we are going to have 48,750 there. So all the most difficult questions have been answered by the data table. So if we go to best, just check the numbers that we're going to have. We have 48,750, which is this. If we check, we go to passive, it's going to give us 8,000. Oh, sorry, not there, to passive, sorry, to passive. It's going to give us 8,000. This is how you use two-way data tables. So let's look at the last one on the goal seek. We are remaining few, about 6 minutes. I hope we'll be done. I just want to show you how to sculpt a loan, but we'll use goal seek at some point. Here first, the example is that you have a facility. A facility is a loan. You are asking yourself, obviously I put dollars, you can put kwacha there. There are times when you say, I want to get a loan of maybe 120,000. The interest rate in Zambia is around 28% annual interest. So for example, say it's 27% or maybe 29%, plus those administrative fees and all that, maybe. Then monthly amortization, you want to have this loan for only 3 years. So 3 years is 3 times 12, which gives you 36. The years obviously is 3. So go in D11, type 1. So from here, you want to type 1, you can't go on 1, 2, up to 36. That is too much work for you. So what you do, you go to home, if you can, go to home, go to view, press that, go to series, oh, I can't see. But you can still do 1 up to whatever, it doesn't matter. This is just a thing that if you have maybe 1,000 or so, but 36 is all right. So here I'll say 36, I'll type 36 and press OK. So we have 1 up to 36. These are months. So I'll type principal. I want to know how much principal I'll be having. I would also want to know the interest. I'll do like this. So under principal, there's a formula in Excel, which is PPMT. So I'll say equals PPMT. You have seen it come. I'll tab and hold Control A like this. So the rate, annual rate is 29%, but I want amortization of every month. So I'll lock this and divide by 12 because I'm converting the annual interest rate to monthly. From here, I'll go to the period. So period 1, month 1, how much am I going to pay? I'm not going to lock because I want it to move. Number of payments that I would want to make, there are 36. So I'll go in there, 36 and lock in H6. The present value, this is the facility that I want to get from the bank. But I'm doing my own simulation to see whether I can pay this money before I go to the bank, because they should give me the same numbers anyway. So the present value, I'll pick the 120,000 there and I'll lock. Because it comes in form of a negative, just after the equal sign, I want to convert these negatives into positives. After the equal sign, I'll type negative and press enter. So it shows that in month 1, the principal will be 2128. Now look at the interest. It will be equals IPMT. IPMT, that is the function that we use to compute interest. Tab, Control A. So under the interest here, we'll do the same thing, 29 log, which is H5, divide by 12. Then per period, we'll pick period 1 like that. Don't lock it because we want the formula to move. From here, the number of payments, obviously is 36. I'll lock this, H6, and I'll lock it. Then the present value, this is the loan facility that we're picking. So it's 120,000. I'll go to H4 and lock it. Guys, I'm teaching you top-notch modeling, not TV. Oh. So, because it comes as a negative down here, after the equal sign, I'd rather put a negative after the equal sign so that I convert it into a positive. Then you can press OK, press OK or enter. So you know how loans are structured. In the first few months of your loan, you'll be paying more of interest than principal. Later on, as it advances, the principal goes up and the interest goes down, which is now better because it becomes faster for you to start amortizing that loan. So copy these amounts, take them up to 36. Up to 36. So here, if I do like this, just to show you the total here equals sum, you pick this, the total remains the same. It's supposed to remain the same unless I've made a mistake somewhere, up to 36. So you have seen, this is the amount that you'll be paying. But as you advance into your loan amortization, as you advance in terms of the periods that have been amortized in this loan, the interest changes. The interest goes down, the principal goes up. So it starts becoming faster to reduce your outstanding balance, loan balance. So understand this concept when you're getting a loan. Now, having done this, if you want to come up with what we call a loan amortization schedule, a loan chart, you can pick your principal and your interest and go up to 36 there, so that we create that chart, you see it. You can use this model that we have created together for your own loan. If you decide to get a loan, you just punch in numbers. So from here, you can go to your chart. If you don't want to use that, you can press F11. F11 is a shortcut for your charts. Just press F11 if you don't want to go for those charts. You can see how your F11 is a shortcut for a quick chart, just for your own analysis or whatever. You can beautify it if you want to. You can see what is happening here, Myra. When you get this loan, you pay more interest than principal, but as it moves on into the about 8th month of paying your loan, you almost start break even. After that, it's the interest that you start, it's the principal that you'll be paying. At that rate, your loan moves faster than it was when you started, because you are paying more of interest, which wasn't reducing your loan balance significantly. Okay, we have passed 3 minutes, guys. But then now, the question is, when you check on these monies, you have seen what is happening there. So what you're actually saying is that, you know, I'll need to do what? I'll need to be paying. Say in there, we say equals, because this is your monthly payments. These are your monthly payment. You are saying it is 5209. You get a salary of 10,000. After you pay my rentals and push some certain files, you remain with 4,000. You are just trying to sculpt what we call debt sculpting in the debt modeling. Debt sculpting, you are actually looking at your cash flows matching with your debt so that you are not debt stressed. So under this, you say in any Matenga salary, your available amount, you use this model, I've created the model for you. Your available cash after malipira volipira lipira umasala na 4,000. Please understand this. But because Mungulu, how do they call it? How do they call it, Maira? You just go to the bank and say 120,000 before you scout. Then you have problems. So we are saying, oh, Mungulu, not Mungulu, Mungulu. So then we are saying, you have looked at it. This is the money that you remain with. For the 6 months, how much would you actually, how much loan would you get? So you go into this monthly thing that you have done there, will be done in it. Then you go to what if again, data. From data, you go to what if analysis, you go to go seek. So this amount, this 17, this is what you want to set. You want to set it to how much? To only 4,000. You want to be paying only 4,000. So by changing which? By changing you can change the amortization monthly tenure, or you can actually change the amount that you want to get. So in this case, I can change the amount that I want to get. So I'll go to 120. So let's go press here on H4. And press OK. So we'll see how much loan you can get from the bank. So it shows that that 120,000 you wanted to get here. Otherwise, pressure. You will start pestering your friends to ask him 100 kwacha I am a data to come and learn at Coach Cat at this academy. So then after you have done that, you have realized that 95,000, that is the loan you can get. But now, you through this, you have a bigger plan. You still want 120,000. So then now you ask you say, for how long can I get this? Maybe you just want to change the period. So you would come here still, you say, first, you go in here on the monthly, just as an example, you say go seek, then you say this, you want to change it to 4,000 because that is what you can afford, but you want to know how long it would take you to amortize that 120,000. So you go on the period. So you press OK. So it shows you that if you are to insist to getting 120,000, it will be 54 months. 54 months divided by 12, and isn't that about 4.5 years? Guys, thank you so much. I hope I was recording. Thank you so much for today's lecture. I'm more than excited. I'll be going to the village. It's just that now I no longer have a car. It's in the park. Whoever gets the battery, whoever gets whatever they get, that's okay for me. So I'll get back tomorrow. I hope I start off by maybe 5 hours bus, so we can still have class. If it's okay with you, we can have it at 20 hours. I just hope, because I've just seen some mechanics to the same place. I hope when they go in the park, they'll find the car intact, meaning that no one has actually salvaged anything, and work on it. Maybe remove the engine and all that. I don't know.